We're starting?
Yes.
All right, asshole. Um,
Do we have to get...
I want to welcome back John to the show.
Oh my god.
You know, I noticed that with every episode that he was like Homer Simpsoning out of the frame because he's ashamed of me
Oh
and the
no.
things that I talk about.
No.
I kept picking on him, and then now he decided to come back. I don't know if it's because he just feels guilty, or like he just grew a pair. But I want to welcome John back to the show, and we have a good episode lined up. I want to recommend a couple things to people. You know, if you want to not have your search engine censored, go with DuckDuckGo. I really recommend the search engine to everybody. Also, also, so shut up. Also, what I wanna there's another thing. What is it? The DuckDuckGo, and then there's
I'm talking about Brave.
yeah, there's a cool browser called Brave, where you earn crypto while you're on it. And so I want people to check it out and tell me if this is real. Are we really earning crypto here if we use this search engine? But it's like really cool because it's basically has advertisements and it pays you it pays you. You know how people use your information, like, you know, we need to do, you know what we need to do? We need to do an episode on Edward Snowden. A lot of people don't even know who he is. But the government has permission to spy on us, which is exposed. So yeah, our computers are listening to us, and then it plugs in and sends us advertisements that matches what we talk about. So that's why we have VPNs now, right? But and the browser has a VPN you could sign up for, and you have to pay for it. But one thing that's happening is media companies, Facebook and stuff like that, they sell our information, like our browsing data and stuff like that. They sell it to companies. But basically, this browser is giving us a cut of that. A cut of like the advertisements that we see, and then you know, us that happening, that we get like crypto, like small amount of crypto for it. I think that's how it works. I might be wrong. Somebody tell me what's going on. I'm too dumb to understand these things. But it's called Brave browser. So
we're continuing with
yeah, we are gonna talk about the Rona again. We did the last one, coincidence, talking about the origins of the virus. Now I want to talk about things. Things are calming down. We're gonna get to take off masks. All right. CDC said it's okay, and people are getting vaccinated, and everyone's all chill. I feel like I wanted to talk about this from like it was the first episode we ever did. We talked about COVID, Fauci, the Keebler elf, and all of that stuff. But now, people are more calm. Hopefully, I don't know. They still might get pissed, but I want to talk about it, and go with it. All right. So one interesting thing, follow up from the last episode about coincidence, says in China, we have a new article of China having some leaked document. Can you put that up there? The Australians reporting on it. Yes, the sinister. There's like two articles. Sinister speculation over China's bioweapons plan. That China had, there was a leaked document that says in 2015 China had a plan to weaponize the coronavirus as a bioweapon against the world. So let's see. There's speculation has emerged. China's collecting DNA from the world's population in a gory scheme to wipe out certain ethnic and racial groups. Of course, China, thank you very much. That's not surprising. The damning allegations have been leveled at the nation by writer Gordon Chang, the man behind 2001 book, The Coming Collapse of China. China's database DNA has continued growing throughout the coronavirus pandemic, and the country is using its vaccine as leverage for information on U.S. citizens. Mr. Cheng told Fox News. The coronavirus is not the last pathogen that will be generated from Chinese soil, and so we've got to be concerned that the next disease is more transmissible and more deadly than the novel coronavirus, he said. Of course, China has denied any allegation the coronavirus was a biological weapon, as it signed a treaty in 1984 prohibiting them from developing, producing, or stockpiling biological weapons or toxin weapons. All right? There's another article I sent you. Did China plan use of coronavirus as biological weapon in 2015? The COVID-19 pandemic is wreaking havoc across the globe, and so far around 150 million people have been affected and about 3.2 million people have died from it globally. In India alone, the number of people who died from this pandemic is about to reach 2.5 lakhs, maybe some Indian measurement. But in China, from which the virus spread all over the world, everything has become normal. In Wuhan City, the epicenter of the virus, people are now living without masks and social distancing. In such a situation, the question in everybody's mind is, what did China do that the coronavirus is now in control there? The answer to this question is revealed through a research paper. The research paper has been published by a newspaper in Australia. It has been said that the discussion of using the coronavirus as a biological weapon started in China in 2015 itself. At that time, scientists of China's Liberation Army and senior health officials in China had prepared a research paper titled The Unnatural Origin of SARS and the New Species of Man-Made Virus as Genetic Bioweapons. This means that in the year 2019, when the first case of coronavirus came to light in the city of Wuhan, China, a research paper was already prepared 4 years before that, and was prepared by the Chinese army and scientists and senior health officers. In this research paper, the Chinese scientists had said that coronavirus could usher in a new era of biological weapons because they believed that if changes were made, then this virus could spread disease in humans on a large scale, as it is happening now. In this research paper, Chinese scientists also wrote that if the virus was used as a weapon, then it would spread in the whole world so that it would be very difficult to control it. Just like the China scientists thought in 2015, it is happening in the world right now. All right, so there was this article in 2015 that was speculating that they could use a coronavirus pandemic similar to the first SARS as a bioweapon against the world. So interesting. Would China think of something like that? Of course they would. I don't think that that's like shocking. Like China, why would China do that? Why would they not? Of course China would think of something like that. And if you're shocked that China would think of something like that, then you're living underground. So does that mean that COVID-19 is a bioweapon coming out of China? Of course not, but it's another one of those coincidences. All right? So just you guys think about what that means. But what we do know is during this whole time, we have been following the advice of China through the World Health Organization of how to respond to the coronavirus outbreak. And there's a New York Post article, China's deadly coronavirus lie, co-conspirator. We shouldn't be trusting these people. New York Post article, they're conspiracy theorists, but I like them.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. China, they're not. They're legitimate until they say anything that people don't want to hear. All right, China's deadly coronavirus lie co-conspired the World Health Organization. The fog of war obscures much about the novel coronavirus pandemic, but two facts seem absolutely certain. First, China's communist authorities have lied, of course, concealed, and misled about the origins of the epidemic and the toll of the virus in China. Second, the World Health Organization has acted as Beijing's handmaid. Perfect, whoever wrote this. The result, the global toll of the tragedy will be much greater than it need have been. We shouldn't be surprised that Beijing's regime lies about the epidemic. It lies about, well, everything. Thank you. From economic data to air pollution figures, right? That's why we believe that China's factories don't produce climate change. All right, the Communist Party doctors information to protect and promote itself. Naturally, in the face of grave national health threat, The incentive for dissembling was tremendous. So Beijing spun and suppressed information about the outbreak and impact of the coronavirus. Our people are blaming that they are just communists and this is a flaw of communist governments. Or it may be that they did it on purpose. All right, but the World Health Organization, no excuse. They lied for China. They didn't make a mistake. They lied for the Chinese government about the coronavirus, and they could have helped stop the spread in January when they said and lied and knowingly lied that there was no evidence for human-to-human transmission when they knew that was not true. The World Health Organization, the leader of the World Health Organization is a communist named Tedros, and they are obviously sold out to the Chinese Communist Party. This is not hard to discover. You could research this. We had a video. Obviously, World Health Organization is beholden to China. We had a video on the New Social episode where the World Health Organization official will not answer a question from a Taiwanese reporter about why Taiwan is not in the part of the World Health Organization Council. And
This one.
oh yeah, why don't you play? Is it video?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's play it again.
Again?
We don't need to play it. You guys saw it. Go watch New Social. They basically the guy basically pretends that he can't hear the lady ask the question, and he says, "Hey, ask another question." This dude, and then he basically logs off when she asks the question again, because China would be very upset. They don't like Taiwan. They don't want Taiwan's legitimacy in anything. They want to invade Taiwan. And so the idea that that Facebook will not stray from anything the World Health Organization says about the coronavirus vaccine is foolish. We should listen to our own doctors, which in America there is a group that I listen to. I don't think that we should be listening to the World Health Organization. I don't like these governing bodies. I like individual, independent people arguing with each other. I like that. I like scientists yelling at each other and coming out with stuff that, challenges the narrative, and then, the truth emerges in the midst of that. I don't like these governing bodies basically, steamrolling other people, and obviously because of the nature of the thing, it could become corrupt. If you own all the world media systems and hold their financial profits in your in your grip, and then you corrupt a couple, the leaders in the World Health Organization. They were in the UN, and you should timestamp this right now, what I'm about to say. I don't have an article for this right now, but there was a UN, the Chinese government so entrenched in being able to corrupt these governing bodies that they have moseyed their way in to the United Nations Human Rights Council, and they did a report about America's human rights record, and while they're massacring Uyghur Muslims and Christians and putting them in concentration camps and harvesting their organs. Like, this is like, are we like sleeping on this? Like, this is what we're dealing with, and they're the ones have the most influence over these governing bodies. So this is how much power they have over the stream of information. And so I don't want to do this right now. I really don't like this. I really don't like Bill Maher. But we're going to watch a video of Bill Maher. Jeez. I really don't like... You know what I don't like? I don't like that people are getting their news and and seeing as legitimate these fake comedians that are on network television, and they bring news to people and people take it as news. It's corporate media. It's corporate media. If you're progressive or liberal, you should be against corporate media, right? You should be like, fight the power, rage against the machine.
Independent journalism.
Yeah, but they don't. They're like listening to corporate media. They're listening to freaking, what's his name? Trevor Noah and that English...
John Oliver.
John Oliver, go back to your country. John Oliver. It's okay if I say it about white people, right? Go back to your country. Get out of my country, John Oliver. And they're all just kind of spewing jokes about what their corporate overlords tell them what they can talk about and the narrative that they can spin. They're not reliable news sources. But and Bill Maher is an atheist. He hates me, right? He hates Christians. He thinks we're idiots.
Did you see that documentary he made?
No, don't promote it.
Okay, we're not gonna. I'll cut that out.
Don't promote Bill Maher. But I'm about to promote Bill Maher. Real time Bill Maher. Even he's a liberal at least, and he talks about the coronavirus, and he's pretty accurate. And so we're gonna play him just so that we're gonna get some legitimacy with liberal-minded people.
And finally, new rule: don't spin me when it comes to my health. Over the past year, the COVID pandemic has prompted the medical establishment, the media, and the government to take a scared straight approach to getting the public to comply with their recommendations. Well, I'm from a different school. Give it to me straight, Doc. Because in the long run, that always works better than you can't handle the truth. Now, I get it. Doctors tell people lies
Shut up.
because they don't trust you to finish the antibiotics after your starts feeling better.
Sorry for the language. Maybe we could cut it.
Media? Well, I think we all know if it bleeds, it leads. The more they can get you to stay inside and watch their panic porn, the higher the ratings. Researchers are
Hey asshole, this is the problem with media is that they group categories together and then they wholesale some aspect of that group and cart it off as like they're all like this, and so I hate that shiz. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's there's millions of conservatives in this country, and they have nothing to do with what he's about to say, and there's like millions of liberals in this country that I would probably be I'm friends with, and I would probably be friends with if I knew them, that are not buying into all this nonsense, so that's annoying, but that's how media is. All right, let's go.
symptoms. But what about liberals? You did. Because the last thing you want to do is say something insensitive. We would literally rather die. Instead, we were told to lock down. Unfortunately, the killer was already in the house, and her name is Little Debbie.
All right, he's right about almost every point. Like Florida and Texas did better, and they have densely populated cities as well. Their numbers do not compare to to California and New York, and then there's like immigrant populations in Miami, like in Florida as well, and Florida has more. They have more elderly than New York. Like Florida is a retirement town, a state, and so there's way more elderly there. They fare better, and so like not by small numbers, like large numbers. And Florida, for those of you that don't know, everybody assumes that the whole world had to wear masks, social distance, and they were mandated by the government to lock down and everything like that. Florida did not have mandated masks. Everything was still open. The major arenas were not, but like they had churches were considered essential from the very beginning. This governor came out and said churches are essential from the very start of the pandemic. And so he suggested things. He gave his people liberty and in the state. And everyone threw this guy under the bus. But his numbers as a state is way better than any like most of the Democrat-run states. So I think he should be president. Honestly. And Bill Maher does say one thing. This thing came out where Trump came out and said, that we need to put bleach drink bleach. He did not say that. I'm pretty sure that in the briefing room, the doctors had shown him like various things, and he came out and blurted some of those things out. And the media and some of the people that threw him under the bus. But there is hydrogen peroxide that they transfuse in your blood. If you could find an article for that, it's used for various practices, like experimentally trying to unclog arteries and things like that. And I'm sure they floated that by him. Another thing that he mentioned was UV light into the bloodstream, like finding a way to disinfect the blood with UV light. That's actually real. He probably was like, talking about that without knowing how to talk about it, and then they just, he shouldn't have.
You have to be very clear when you.
Yeah,
make
you
those
gotta be
statements.
clear about that. And he just kind of awfully like, that's amazing. Like there's this option, and I'm sure that in the briefing room, they like all doctors like, these are all possible things that we could try, and they were just throwing all this stuff out there.
And then he just goes up.
And he's like, it's like you can get the cleaning solution in your blood, He's probably talking about hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
But the problem is like the media was like, yes, we got him. Bleach in your blood, drink bleach. And anyway, and then and then people were already drinking bleach anyway. Small percentage of people like drinking hard out liquor, and like they were like drinking like rubbing alcohol and stuff like that. It didn't necessarily increase because he said it, but like they brought that out to demonize him. So hey, what are you gonna do? So Bill Maher also brings out the statistic that 80% of the people that passed away from COVID-19 were obese. And so I'm glad that you decided to go on keto and lost weight during COVID-19, which is what everyone should have done. Instead of locking down, they should have been encouraging, okay, if they're going to encourage lockdowns for overweight people, then it would have been said, good also to say this is the time to lose weight right now, because it's going to increase your chances of survival and become healthy. And one of the things they should also encourage is exercise. Get out and exercise. Get in the sun. But instead we had these asinine lockdowns that the collateral damage for the lockdowns, we knew what the numbers were the first time we did this. The first time we did these pseudo lockdowns, where Walmart and everyone else is like not vectors, but of course, and strip clubs are not vectors, but churches are. When we did these asinine lockdowns, the first time we knew the human death toll, right? It had little impact on how many infection rates, what the infection rates were going to be and how many people were going to die. What it did do was there's a lot of collateral damage, right? So one of the collateral damage is increase of suicide cases quadruple, right? During the lockdowns, there was a study that came out, the first one, that we are going to do the collateral damage from the lockdown was going to be more damaging than coronavirus ever would. One of them is suicide rates quadrupling. And at that time, it was doubling and tripling. But now, with the second lockdown, it's quadrupling. It was quadruple. People becoming addicted to alcohol. The WHO warns against COVID-19 lockdown due to also economic damage, which means who cares about money, right? But no, suicide rates go up when people lose their jobs and they can't pay for anything, and economic damage also increases depression. All right, but economic damage to us is inconvenience, but to the rest of the world, the number of people that are going to starve to death has also tripled.
There was more suicides in San Francisco than COVID deaths.
Yes.
Which I will.
Yeah. Ding. So, like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah, we did. In the first lockdown, we knew what was the damage that was going to be done, that had been done by the first asinine lockdown. By the second one, we should have known this, and we shouldn't have done it. But we had a second lockdown, and now that has increased the numbers now more. And so, did it impact rate of infection? Can you go to that article of masks and the lack of impact that it has?
Just
It's a graph. So MIT researchers say time spent indoors increases risk of COVID at 6 feet or 60 feet in new study challenging social distance policies. Social distancing is also dumb.
oh, here we go.
Yeah, this is from the Swiss Policy Research. All right, let's go up. All right, studies on effectiveness in face masks. There's sources attached to this too. You guys could look for this. A May 2020 meta-study on pandemic influenza published by US CDC found that face masks had no effect, neither as personal protective equipment nor as a source control. A Danish randomized controlled trial with 6,000 participants published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. So it just lists all this stuff, okay? All right, let's go up to the graph right here. Australia COVID-19 cases. Masks are required right here. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't change. Like when the thing rises up, it just rises up. Next one. No, not that one. Go back up.
Oh.
There's an arrow. Belgium. Masks are required right here. Still spikes. Next one. Every place, it doesn't affect the infection rate. Like people, it spikes no matter what. And what's curious is, keep going. Just go through all of them. Ireland. Keep going.
Go up from okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Hey, it's my state.
Yes, shut up, Hawaii. All right, let's go. Just keep going. Just keep
Alright.
clicking through. I'm gonna talk.
That's it.
All right. The problem with this is that Georgia, Texas and Florida, they didn't have hard mask mandates.
Mm-hmm.
It was loose. We remember when we went to Texas, nobody cared.
Yeah, we were preparing and then nobody cared there.
Yeah, nobody cared. It was just ridiculous. And so the numbers, the spike are the same. The infection rate is the same. And so what does the mask accomplish? It gives you a psychological sense of security. Now, maybe it did affect it and the spikes. There's other countries too that didn't require mandate masks. It was optional. It was like, wear it if you want, don't wear it if you don't want. But the spikes remained the same. It was the same. It was the same. Infection rates, it follows a pattern no matter what. And there was an article that I posted at the beginning of the pandemic that everyone attacked me for it. It's a epidemiologist from Rockefeller University. He basically said that the infection rates are going to be the same no matter what. He looked at the numbers. He was saying infection rates are going to be the same. We need to achieve herd immunity now. The lockdowns are just going to delay it. It was a little too early. We probably needed to go through one just to see if we can make it. But he was like, this doesn't make any sense. So, like, he was right. The infection rates don't change. All right. Next one is California doctor claims that he's seen more suicide than COVID deaths. Okay, so we covered that already. You'll like put up all of those things, okay? So the collateral damage from coronavirus is way more devastating, lockdowns, than the coronavirus itself. States and countries that did not lock down, mandate lockdowns, had the same rate of infection as those that did. And actually, the quality of life, I'm sure the collateral damage is going to be less.
Can you see this, bro?
He says, I mean, we've seen a year's worth of suicide attempts in the last 4 weeks. So, people that think that this is like the lockdowns were like we need to do it for, dude, quadruple deaths from suicide, drug addictions. That's another number, and kids were coming into the hospital from child abuse because the schools were closed. Which there's no reason for the schools to be closed. It's a globally known fact. Even Dr. Fauci has admitted it. in an interview, in a discussion with Rand Paul, that around the world, kids are not really a vector for spreading the disease, nor are they impacted by coronavirus in any significant way. Why are the schools closed? It's because of the news and because of this fear porn. All right, another, and it'll change. Schools are going to open. They're opening now. All right, and so, but then the greatest impact is starvation. For us, not a big risk, but around the world, man, it's going to be a problem. People dying from hunger has already increased in a significant way. So it was stupid. Why did the whole world do this? Because of the World Stupid Health Organization. A lot of Mozambique had to lock down when they had barely like a dozen people die in the capital city, and the whole country was like, "What are we doing?" Like, what is, like, for them, they were like, "What is coronavirus?" They didn't even know what it was, and they locked down the whole country because, China rules, and so World Health Organization rules like a policy, and so, but don't get it wrong, the whole world did not do this. The whole world did not do this, and even in America, not every state did this. If you go to Idaho, if you go to some of these countries, some of these states that they never locked down. It didn't happen. This whole time, there are states in this country that never locked down, never mandated masks. They did not demand people to socially distance. Businesses didn't close down in certain states. Did you know that? That you could have flew to one of these states and had a vacation and acted like, nothing was happening. And so, if we were to isolate people, what would have been the smart thing to do? Which we knew already in the beginning. We knew that being overweight and obese and unhealthy was going to put you at risk for COVID. Those people needed to then stay home. Also, that was 80%. Okay, people that have comorbidities, they're sick, they have diabetes, they have heart condition or whatever, they need to also be safer, right? And elderly. The rest of us, what the hell were we doing sitting at home? Like, we need to work, right? It's like, I like getting free money too, right? I put it all in crypto and into improving my house. But we can't do, like Godcoin episode, we can't keep doing this. And the people are just living off of printed money. This is insane. We need to work. We need to do what we need to do. Leave people alone. Give them the freedom to decide what to do with their lives. I know people passed away from this disease. I have family members that got it. And my grandmother probably died of complications after, she beat COVID. So, but the collateral damage is too high. The narrative should have been, we're at war and we need soldiers to keep fighting. That should have been the narrative we got, and people that, are able get up and go. And but we already knew from Italy and Europe that the obese and people that have their lungs compromised, they're at the highest risk. A healthy young person, what is the stat? Like 99.99. Even John MacArthur knew this. And he's had his church open this whole time. He has thousands of people. Zero social distancing. You're not required to wear a mask. And they're just piling in services, multiple services every Sunday. And they try to throw them through the mud, the news media. And they were saying that there was an outbreak at the church. And when they probed it, it was like 2-3 people connected to the church, but they didn't get infected there. They got infected somewhere else. But they try to spin that and saying there's an outbreak at Grace Community. It's ridiculous. And so I wanted to yell about this from the very beginning, but like you warned me that it might make people upset. But the thing is, it was worth ranting about it because people died, not a coronavirus. More people, and it's not just us, it's going to be poor people. Poor people are going to starve to death because of economic problems. So, and we're only beginning to face the economic problems. Inflation, 400% increase in lumber, right? And all of this inflation, I hope what these people are saying, these rich ass people are saying, is true. That it's not going to be as bad as we think it's going to be. But it sure feels like they're lying, and they're covering their own ass. Bill Gates got divorced so he could sell his stocks and split it with his wife. What a convenient time to sell all of his stocks, right? Stock market's probably going to crash. And so we're getting into crypto, baby. Crypto all the way. I don't know. But masks and the lack of impact, all right? Long-term mask wear. Okay, is there any danger to long-term mask wear? So many articles saying that there's no problem with mask wearing long-term. There's no issue at all. And I posted something on Facebook, and Facebook flagged me because the dude stretched his credentials. He said he was from Stanford, but he was only a visiting professor at one point. And he claimed Stanford. He shouldn't have done that. And so they retracted the article. And he hypothesizes that the masks are not really as effective as we think, but long-term mask wear can be bad. And he posts some things, and I saw some of the footnotes there and some of the research material that he was pointing to talk about the long-term mask wear. That's why I posted it. I should have known that people are not going to look into it that far. I shouldn't have posted it. But long-term mask wear, is it dangerous? And so there was this article that came out that bothered me because it was an article about how athletes use masks for oxygen deprivation to improve the quality of their breathing, and that it's actually good for you. So they spun the article that way. It's like athletes do it all the time, and that oxygen deprivation is like training in the mountain, and so it could help your lungs and improve the quality of your lungs. Athletes do it all the time, which means that article proves, those articles prove that there's somewhat of an oxygen dip when you wear it long term. There's so many arguments that no, it doesn't affect your breathing at all. It doesn't affect oxygen. It doesn't affect carbon dioxide levels. It doesn't affect it at all. Then why talk about the athlete that uses it for oxygen deprivation and it could be good for you? Why use that? Look at this lady. Play this lady. I'm sure you guys have seen this. This woman arguing for mask mandate. She almost passes out. Watch.
But I do think that we should follow their request and their recommendation for masking.
Masking universally when you cannot maintain social distance needs to happen for our best effort to keep the children in school.
Lori, how often has the CDC been to our district?
You know what? The CDC doesn't visit any school districts.
Exactly. That's my point. They are creating regulations.
No, you interrupted me, Paul. You interrupted me. Please do not interrupt me. They make recommendations for the entire country based on their knowledge and their understanding of what is best for everyone. And they don't need to visit our school district to make recommendations for everyone. And they currently have recommendations that with the current level of transmission in Bonneville County, that we should be in hybrid for the elementary schools and virtual for middle schools and high schools. And we're not following that. But I do think that we should follow their request and their recommendation for masking.
I hope this lady's okay.
So you want to pick and choose?
Yes, I do. Yes.
What is going on here?
Because I think you might have a point, Paul, that we want to pick some things that are best for our local area
talking.
Best to follow the recommendations.
Breathe, damn it, breathe!
I don't think
She passes out.
it's a bad thing to try and make the best decisions possible.
Right, and what my point is that CDC
Look,
is
she's
making a
closing her
recommendation
eyes.
for the entire country.
Oh,
They're
really?
looking at the worst case scenarios that
I
you're
don't think the
seeing
dude interrupts
in
ever.
New York
I think
and
he's
Los
just waiting for his
Angeles
turn and then he
so
talks
forth.
and she
They're
interrupts
having to
him.
make a recommendation for the entire country. That's my point. And we're Idaho Falls. Our situation in Idaho Falls, thank goodness, is very different than what is taking place in New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and Oregon. And so when you have this agency that's making a recommendation for the entire
She's out.
country, they're going to take the most conservative route because they have to
Lady
consider
Tap.
what's going on in New York and LA.
And you know what, Paul? I
Idaho Falls.
actually agree with you as far as whether or not our schools can be open. And that's why I said we can pick and choose, because we know our district and whether or not we think we should be open for in-person learning or not. But masking
That's not me, that's the video.
is a thing that the doctors and the scientists have shown that wearing masks reduces transmission. And we need to reduce transmission as much as possible so that we can stay open, which we as a board have decided is the thing we want to do. And so we need to do everything we can within the parameters of our schools and that we have decided we
Let's
want
fast
to be
forward to the
open.
end. I wonder what happens.
We
at
need
the
to do
end.
everything.
Is it
My decision based on being a trustee
lost
of
her
District
pen.
91 with what I think is best for us and Madison School District, and their trustees can make what is best for them.
Right. I think we can take the data, though, that's from Eastern Idaho Public Health and learn from it.
You know the funniest part here is when
No, Paul!
it's not just to her drinking water, like her taking the mask
just
off to
takes
drink
it-
water. Where is it? Oh my god, that was so funny.
Just people could. I'm sure they've seen this, but like the thing is, like with this lady, like, okay, so I've worn that mask where I've worn like oxygen deprivation masks, to, you know, it mimics mountain running, right? And so I've done that, but you're supposed to only do it for like 20 minutes. You know, Boss Rutan had this thing you put in your mouth and you have to breathe. It strengthens your lungs. And so I've done that, but it's not recommended that you do that for more than 20 minutes at a time. So I'm arguing, like, what does it do to a kid that has to wear it all day? And they're not going to wear it right? Kids are not going to freaking keep that thing on their face all day. They're going to, like, fidget with it. They're going to play with it. They're going to, like, run around. And teachers are going to constantly say, put your mask on, put your mask on. It's like,
They're saying that the hand fidgeting with the mask is more.
yeah, it's going to increase infection.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, but kids are not a risk. Okay, so long-term mask wear for kids, is it safe? There was research before coronavirus about surgery masks and also N95 masks where for construction workers, it does affect oxygen levels and carbon dioxide levels. And how does it affect long-term? For adults, most of the articles that are debunking this, for grown adults, it's not a problem, it says, right? It's not that much of an impact. But for little children, it's hard to have a study of young kids forced to wear masks long term and measure their oxygen levels. It's hard to do that, to experiment on kids like that. But it cannot be good for them. And so I would say to parents, like, really consider this, think about this. And even amongst adults, there have been cases where, you know, it has adverse effects, long-term use. I'm not talking about 20-minute run, 30-minute run. We're talking about 5-6 hours a day. It's not the best thing. All right, so you guys do some research about that. Don't just there's going to be both sides of the issue, and research that justifies looking at both uh, you know, two ways to look at both things, and then decide. All right, you found some cool things about the vaccines. Before we talk about vaccines, we did a Bill Gates episode. We had to scratch it because of some issues. But like, by the way, Bill Gates is evil, and that man is he's evil because he's the man that continued to have relationship with Jeffrey Epstein even after his conviction about trafficking under basically children, trafficking children, and on his island. He got convicted and he went to rich people jail. Even afterwards, Bill Gates was still friends with that dude. That says a lot about Bill Gates. And so that's one of the reasons why Melinda Gates is saying that she's getting divorced from him.
She felt really uncomfortable by that, yeah.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Why would you continue to meet with this dude? You're a bazillionaire. Why do you need his money? So, screw Bill Gates. Guys, listen, I know some of you guys got the vaccine. You felt pressured by work, et cetera, and or you guys want to go to Korea, and I'm not trying to, my thing about church people is always the same. You do what you feel is right for you with the research that you've done, and what you know about things. I respect you guys. I respect what you're gonna do. If you wear a mask at the church, I respect it, and there's no way to 100% know about anything, but for young people that you know that you're not sick, like you're gonna be okay. Don't be afraid. But and it's over now. It's over now. We're gonna take off the masks. It's gonna be a great summer, and everyone's getting vaccinated. I saw some lies about vaccinations. That 70% of the country got vaccinated. 30% are white evangelicals that are refusing to get vaccinated, and it's so stupid. We don't even have that many vaccines. We don't have enough to vaccinate 70% of the country. It's more like 45, I think, 45%, and some of that is only one shot, and then two.
I think that number is even a lot lower.
Yeah.
Because there's some estimates about at the rate that we're vaccinating the U.S.
It should take 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. I think that was the initial estimate of how many vaccines we had, and then
because the demand for it dropped.
The demand for it dropped, and they're blaming white evangelicals for it because that's who we need to blame. It's so stupid. It's more than half the country. They don't want to get it because the news that's coming out. And also the way that they're measuring the side effects when they're saying it's absolutely safe, that's not true. It's just that there's so go up. COVID-19 vaccine side effects and death. The lack of information on how and where to report is the reason why we're not hearing as much about it, and the news is not reporting it. Also, when people die with vaccine-related death from COVID-19 vaccines, they're pointing to other things. They're not saying that it's because of the vaccine. It's because this person was going to have a heart attack anyway or whatever. Mm. So they're basically saying the vaccine is not involved. When people say, well, there's no connection whatsoever, that's stupid because we can't know until a few years of research. Like, we're not going to know that this miscarriage that this lady experienced was not because of the vaccine. Like, we just don't know. Okay? And, but there's this article of people, they're having like some, most people have a pain in the arm, and we don't know. Normal, right? Yeah. We don't know what the long term is. Some people feel really sick. I was at the dog park. This lady goes, and this is something that's common. This lady tells me, and she's like this young person, right? She tells my wife, I got the vaccine, and then my throat closed, and so the ambulance had to come and take me to the hospital, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And then they treated her, and then Bino was like, oh my God, right? And then she's like, oh, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm okay now, etc. And then it's like, so the next time, for the next vaccine, I'm going to make sure I do it at the hospital in case something like that happens. And Bino was just looking at her like, okay. Because her throat closed. And she couldn't breathe. And
She had a very harsh reaction.
yeah,
to
she had a
it,
very
huh?
harsh reaction. If she wasn't near the people that gave her the vaccination, if they didn't call the ambulance, she would have probably suffocated. So that is happening to people. There's other things too, like miscarriages, and and there was this one extreme case you showed me.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Let me find it.
You can find it. What else do you have? People don't trust the vaccine, and I don't think they're insane evangelical white people that hate science. That's basically the way the media paints us. I'm basically white too, white as snow.
I'll just link it. And then,
Link it?
you can-
Come
or you
on,
can
man.
You can just talk about it.
Well,
though.
what you tell me about it? You send it to me.
Oh, so pretty much there was a report about how a woman who gave birth recently, she got vaccinated because I think she had it after the baby was born, just in case. And I think it was that she was breastfeeding, and then the baby ended up getting blood clots,
Which is
a sign.
something that is
Happening.
associated with the vaccine.
Vaccine, yeah, in rare cases. So apparently it is something that is transmissible.
Something in the breast
through-
milk.
yeah.
Something in the breast milk.
So that is something that has been reported. So,
Yeah. All right. No connection though, possibly. And maybe the baby just had blood clots and died.
Yeah, how dare they get behind anti-science?
Yeah, but that's not scientific. We need to find out. We need to wait and find out. Not just say it's not. So what else do we got here?
Oh, something about vaccinating people and spike
So this is a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. It's a potential possibility. They just have to do more. They have to do more clinical research. But there's this is, if you look at a fact check article, they'll say this is conspiracy. It's too soon to call it a conspiracy theory.
But we can't confirm.
We can't confirm it. There's a doctor. Check out American Frontline Doctors. I like those guys. Just to get a good balance of things. Independent doctors and scientists and stuff like that. They put out potential things. There's a potential that the vaccines may cause shedding. If some of you guys have already associated this and you've been programmed to think that that's conspiracy theory already. So, but just hear these people out. All right. So, I hope that if there is shedding, that it's just temporary. It's just like until they feel sick, right? Like until a couple days, it should be fine. But pregnant women are still being advised not to get it, right?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Why? Just get it. Because they think there might be a risk.
I mean, there's always risks. So.
Of course. And I think they're not supposed to get vaccines no matter what, like any kind of vaccine when they're pregnant, right? Even the flu, whatever. All right, next one.
I think that's pretty much.
Do we got all of it? Do we see that COVID-19 vaccine side effects? Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
we just looked at that. Blood clotting, anaphylactic shock.
We mentioned a lot of it in the AstraZeneca one.
Yeah,
It was popping positive for HIV, and you got
yeah.
a bunch of stuff.
Pfizer seems to be the most popular one. They're saying is they're gonna make teenagers get that one.
probably the safest one if
The
you are
safest
to
one?
get a vaccine.
But then the lady that got the throat closing,
got Pfizer.
that was Pfizer, and then that the baby with the blood clots, that's Pfizer, too. So it could still. So I'm sure it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
Now the long-term effects of these vaccines, no one knows. When they say it's like it's completely safe, they're lying. They don't know. Number one, this vaccine, the mRNA technology, they're saying that we've researched it for years, right? So we know it's safe. But this is the first one. How do they know what it's gonna do to the population for sure? No one knows. So we're gonna have to wait a couple of years. All right. The other thing is with the vaccines. What I want to say is, as of right now, no one can legally make you get this vaccine. Nobody, your employer, it's illegal. They can't force you to get the vaccine. You have a lawsuit on your hands. You don't have to divulge your information. They cannot mandate this vaccine so you can attend your school, like polio vaccine, all the other stuff. You know, they're mandating, you have to get those in order to attend a university or school. They can't do that with this vaccine yet, because the FDA has only given it emergency use only. So emergency use only approval means that they can't make you get it. Like, it's not mandated. Like, they can't mandate. They can, like, if you want to attend school, you have to get, vaccinated against tetanus and like what else is there? That blood thing. Hepatitis. I got, we all have that. Tuberculosis, all those big ones. You have to get it in order to attend school and stuff like that. They can't do that with this vaccine yet because the FDA has not given it full approval yet. Pfizer's applying for it right now. But emergency use only means that they can't make you get it. So if your employer or anyone else is saying that if you don't get it, you can't work here, that's illegal. You have a lawsuit. And you can sue, you can defend yourself because it's emergency use only. And so whoever's saying that, they're talking out of their butt, because there's no way that you can make somebody get it without full approval from the FDA. And then it's governments, and then it's politics about seeing whether or not they're going to make people get it or not, and put on a list of vaccines that you have to get. So I want you guys to know that if your employer, your school, or whatever is saying that if you don't get it, you can't work, you can't go to school, you can't do this, they can't do that with this vaccine yet. The FDA has not given it full approval yet. Pfizer is only now applying for full approval. And so it seems to be the front runner. And so, but none of these vaccines have been given full approval yet. And so they can't do that. They can't legally do it. All right? So protect yourself. If you feel that you don't want to get it and you feel like they can't mandate you. And they can't make you tell them about your private medical information. Like it's at school you have to make it public, right? You have to say, this is my vaccination card. They can't do this with this vaccine. It says it's none of your business whether I get this vaccine or not. And so, and this is weird. People come to, did you get it? Did you get the vaccine? I'm like, get the hell out of my face. Who the hell are you? I don't even know who you are. Why are you asking like private medical information about my life? It's like weird. And so, people are acting funny, man. But legally, they can't do that. All right? And you do you. I'm not going to get this vaccine. I'm not going to let my wife get it or my kids get it. And until I see what it does to people in another 2-3 years. And what's ridiculous to me about this is that if you get the vaccine, now they're saying you could take the mask off. Okay? But technically, you could still get coronavirus, right? And you could still spread it because it might be in your nose, right? Instead of like in you. So it's not going to infect. But you can still get it though. But now they're saying the reason why you want this vaccine is to abate the symptoms. You don't want bad symptoms. But the thing is, 99.99% of people in this certain age bracket they're not going to get symptoms. So I don't get it. I don't understand what this is. It's just, I'm trying to reason it out. And they were saying on the news, like, if you don't get it, you're an asshole because you're not helping herd immunity. And it's like, what? You got it. You're supposed to be safe. Why is everyone mad that other people don't get it? Like, what is that about? It's like, if they get coronavirus and they get over it, that helps herd immunity. And so, I don't understand that. I don't get it. I don't understand why people need other people to get the vaccine in order for herd immunity to be achieved. If you got the vaccine, aren't you safe? And so, you take off your mask and go. And the people that don't get it, why do they have to wear masks? What if they want to get coronavirus? What if they don't care? What if it doesn't matter? Well, it's like they're putting other people at risk. It's like, but then they should get the vaccine then.
There's plenty of vaccines right now.
Yeah, they just get it. It's like, why are people bothering other people about getting vaccinated? It's like, you do you. You protect yourself.
And you're good.
And you're good. Why are you like paranoid? Why don't you get the vaccine? It's like, because I'm good. I want coronavirus. I want the coronavirus. I don't want vaccine. I want the coronavirus. It's like, it's my choice. My body, my choice. And it's like, but you're putting lives at risk. And it's like, but why don't they just wear the mask and social distance and lock down then?
Yeah.
And then, or get the vaccine. It's like, this is stupid. That's what pisses me off about this. So our church has this policy. Everyone is adult. Do what's right for you and your family. And don't harass other people about the way that they're going to handle this. And don't be the COVID police of the world. It's annoying. And it's stupid. And so that's my attitude with the vaccine. Like, you get it, you know, that's fine. If that's the choice that you make with the research that you've done. And but I'm asking people, please diversify your source of information, because some of this stuff is blindly, you know, it makes it seem like there's only one version of the data. And it's like, why is medicine and science politicized? Even Bill Maher saying it. And I hate him. But if I agree with somebody, I have to admit it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, be wise about things. And
you do you.
You do you. And don't harass other people. And so I guess that's the spiritual part about this episode, is like, you do what's right for you in your life. And the disciples came to Jesus and they were like, hey, that dude is casting out demons in your name, but they're not of our crew. Should we go and like stop him? And Jesus is like, why? Leave him alone. Leave them alone. Are they like harming us? Are they like trying to come against us? They're like, no. It's like, but they're not. They don't have our permission to do that. And then Jesus is like, leave them alone. You do you. And Peter's like, what's going to happen to John, right? And Jesus is like, what's that to you? You follow me. And so, why are we trying to control other people? Mm-hmm. That's really, really psychologically unhealthy. Second of all, it's immoral, right? And you follow God and you do what's right for you in your house. And research and do what you're going to do. And don't be judgy of other people. Like, if your neighbor's not getting the vaccine, you don't have to call him a white supremacist evangelical. What the hell? It's like, you know, a lot of African Americans don't want this vaccine because they have a lot of good reasons not to trust government organizations. Right?
That's true. Did you see that SNL skit?
No, I didn't.
It's actually pretty funny.
So it's not just white evangelicals, you know, minorities, black people. There's a lot of brown people suspicious of the government with good reason. They're not conspiracy theorists. They just have bad experiences historically in this country. So there's a lot of people that are like, dude, I'm not getting this thing. And they're not stupid. They're not ignorant. They're just have bad experiences. And why judge them? And why loot them all as some kind of country bumpkin idiots that are science deniers? Why do this? Why shame these people? I'm one of them. Like, I don't trust these people. And people are like, why would the CDC and FDA, and why would they ever lie to us? They're our daddy, right? And it's like, dude, the FDA lied about sugar for years because the sugar company paid them off.
They even changed the research.
They even changed the science to make sugar not the culprit for cancer, diabetes, and the health problem that we have in America right now. And the reason why 80% of coronavirus patients that were obese died, we could blame it on the sugar company for lying for years to the population, screwing with the medical data. So don't tell me that medical data isn't screwed with. They did it for like not 1 year, 2 years. They did it for decades. And it only came out a few years, like 4 or 5 years ago, that the sugar company paid them off to do this, that they have the power to do that. So we have all this non-fat crap in market and filled with sugar.
Turns out fat is good for you.
It turns out fat is better for you than sugar. It's good for brain function. So don't tell me that the government, FDA and CDC, like all these people don't lie to get, for these large corporate conglomerates. I don't know what else to say, man. That's it.
Just you do you.
Hey, can you post something about that sugar crap? It's unbelievable that people think that the government's on the level with the population all the time. That they don't screw with science and it's reporting of science. It's insane to me. I'm like, this has been happening for several decades, and like, it just came out 5 years ago that happened, and we're just like, let's trust them. It's like, no, do your own. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. People do this. The Tuskegee, incident, and what happened in Harlem, right? It was our CDC that experimented with African Americans and syphilis. It was our government. It was government agencies that did that. So don't have blind trust for government agencies.
Just do you.
They screw with people all the time, because the dollar is the money speaks. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Pastor Dan, me, Pete Tam, and John, being crazy people. All right.
Do you want your laptop or?
I just want to have it as a reference.
Okay.
Can you put up the first post?
Yes.
Is it on?
It's on here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So can you read it for me? The
Washington Post?
Yeah, Washington Post. So this is the same article that Washington Post is now going back and scrubbing and changing words on it. Okay? Go ahead.
So obviously you guys can read it. I'll have it up for you guys. The first one from February 2020, from the politics section. The article is titled, Tom Cotton keeps repeating a coronavirus conspiracy theory that was already debunked. But as of June 2021, they have changed this to say Tom Cotton keeps repeating a coronavirus fringe theory that scientists have disputed. And there's obviously a rearrangement of the words and reselection.
This is happening in a lot of articles because now the lab leak hypothesis is more credible than naturally occurring. The natural occurring theory is actually more of a conspiracy theory than the lab leak hypothesis. There's like zero evidence for naturally occurring and mounting evidence for lab leak theory. So this is the way that another example of how the news media can lie to us with fact checkers even. PolitiFacts had rated this pants on fire reading of it being fake and debunked in conspiracy theory. Like they just throw those terms out, create shame association. But now that the lab leak hypothesis is probably more likely, the news is now running back and changing all of this. Now, that makes me ask this question, right? And everyone should be asking this question. What are they doing right now that might come out later on not being conspiracy theory, debunked, and all the dumb words that they use to create shame? What is the news saying right now that may potentially be changed next year or a few months from now even? Like it it could literally be a few months. Remember that one about the hydroxychloroquine debunked conspiracy theory drug? I mean, they said all this crap about it, and then like 3 months later, it's literally the another article, CNN article, that's the opposite. We posted that already too. So with that said, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a man that was a Nobel Prize winner on a study on the AIDS virus. This French dude named Luc Montagnier. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I'm just guessing. But he immediately said this thing came out of a lab when he studied the genome of the virus, and that he went from Nobel Prize winner, and he got demoted to conspiracy theorist nut job, in a few weeks. And this is the thing that I want to say to people is, you know, these doctors and nurses and scientists that are coming out, and Brett Weinstein has a lot of good material. Everyone should follow the Dark Horse podcast. He was a renowned biologist until 2020, right? So anyone that's been labeled that for going against the narrative of whatever the news media wants told out there, I think that everyone should probably follow those people and pay attention to them to get something that maybe the World Health Organization, which is corrupt, and our own CDC seems to have a profit motive, right? Do we have that article in there too? The profit.
Yeah, the Pfizer.
Yeah. So it's all about the money, baby. And so I just wanted to put up that Washington Post. I want to talk about the vaccine and is it what they say, which is completely safe, harmless, and is it that? And I know that there are definitely conspiracy theories out there about the vaccine, it being, you know, I don't know, the mark of the beast, which I don't think it is, obviously, or that it has nanobots or all kinds of other stuff I've heard. But I don't really care about all of that. What I care about is that it's a lie to say it's completely safe. And if you could open up the virus.
Shall we play the video?
No. The numbers. Yeah. So this is off a website to compile the CDC, you know, vaccine adverse reaction, you know, reporting. This is actually not this is not a full scale number. It's actually lower than what it should be, because for whatever reason the COVID vaccine reporting is being underreported. It's not on death certificates like COVID was, and so this is actually probably a low estimate, low number. But if you could just open up here, 4,004 out of 262,521 reports. Okay, so that's just the 260 out of 262,521 reports. So a lot of this stuff may not be reported. And we put up an article last video that that there's a problem with channels being able to, the channels are clogged, so that the reports are not going to come through. But even with this small sample size, 4,406 deaths, 14,986 hospitalizations, 34,474 urgent care visits, 45,006 office visits, 1,214 anaphylaxis reactions, 1,411 Bell's palsy, 4,591 life-threatening situations, 1,598 heart attacks. I don't know what myocarditis is, but 511 cases of that, 1,222 low platelets condition, 511 miscarriages, 12,219 severe allergic reaction, 3,299 disabled. Okay, so if you go down further, there's all these, like, you know, people reporting what they experienced, etc. And this is as of May 21st, 2021. All right, so this is a website that compiles all the the charts and stuff like that, and so that it's easier to see it organized in this way. Now the next thing we're gonna watch is some of the videos. If you guys go online and get out of Google, because they are taking these videos off. Go to use DuckDuckGo, go on rumble.com. YouTube also censors these videos, but there's videos of people showing the adverse reactions that they're having to the vaccine, and so I just want to warn anyone that we're gonna play it right now, and there is a I just want to warn people that it is a little bit crazy, okay? So if you don't want to see this part, you just fast forward, but John's gonna play it right now.
In Nashville, Tennessee, and my name is Kalila Mitchell. I'm reaching out to everyone about the COVID-19 vaccination. I recently took the COVID-19 vaccination. After the shot, I felt fine, but within 3 days, I went to the doctor because I had problems with my face. The whole left side of my face, actually. I have Bell palsy now. And as you can see, I can't smile. I'm trying to smile. I'm just getting embarrassed at work. But I just want everyone to know that I think this vaccination is the worst thing ever. And I would not give this to anybody, even my worst enemy. Please, America, they do not care about us. Do not take this vaccination.
Hey everybody. First I want to introduce myself, and my name is Sean Skelton, and I'm very real, and unfortunately this is also very real. I didn't know what else to do other than to just come on live and show everybody what my body is going through at all wakening hours of my day. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody online and my friends and family that have reached out and prayed, because I think that's the only thing we have going for us right now is a prayer. And on Monday, well, let's just say I don't know what's happening to my body, okay? It's a good question to me as it is for you, but I know that on Monday I was a very functioning person. Zero medical issues. I work every day. I've been a CNA for 25 years. And I love my patients. I love my job. I got the COVID vaccine, the Moderna, on January the 4th. On Tuesday, I had mild flu-like symptoms. I went to work. Stomach pains and diarrhea, some. On Tuesday, normal flu-like symptoms. Wednesday, I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't able to go to work. My tongue began to spasm out of control. By Thursday morning, I was in full body convulsions. When I get upset, they get a lot worse. But for the most part, this is my typical day. This is right now. I've even taken 2 Valiums. And this is how much my body just controls to move. And I know I have a lot of support. A lot of you people on Facebook are really mean. I didn't ask for this. And how do you just wake up one day and your whole world is wrong and it's upside down and no one helps you is beyond me. I can't make sense of it. I can walk, but my legs just bounce. I try to stay positive. I joke around. And I know a lot of you are probably going to be jealous that I have better dance moves than you and I stand up. And that's just me trying to be positive. But tomorrow I'm supposed to go to somewhere in Eastern Kentucky and I think get a shock treatment. But I just appreciate everybody's prayers.
You can go.
Do you
I'm
wanna
just gonna have
help
this
me
video
get up
over
and
so they can't hear us talk right now.
walk?
I think that's enough. Like when this lady has the weird tongue thing. Actually, play the whole thing.
Bring the EKG machine to room 11. EKG machine to room 11.
What's causing that?
Moderna. The second lady was Pfizer. So I mean, you'll be all right. Like with these videos, right? Can you play them? Yeah. So those are different ones. I think there was Moderna, and then Pfizer was the second one, and there's a percentage of people that have these kinds of reactions to the vaccine. So people saying that it's completely safe is not true. It's very small percent of people that will experience things like this, but those are nurses. Some of them were, I think, 2 nurses in there, and so those are immediate reactions. Now we have no idea what long-term effects these mRNA vaccines are going to have. The idea that they have tested mRNA for the last 5-6 years doesn't mean that there's been a rollout of this kind of this vaccine ever, specifically for COVID 19. It's how many months old now? 6 months, 6-7 months where it's been rolled out.
I think so. They started getting everything right around Biden's inauguration, I think, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit before that too. So it's there's worse videos. You guys go deep and look at some of the reactions that people put up and how Facebook, YouTube, and Google are censoring people's testimonies about vaccinations. Like it's their reaction to the vaccine. Why can't they put it up? Why is it being censored? And so here's a doctor that I have his book, and I've been reading it, and he's been canceled. He's a right-wing conspiracy nut job now, according to the news media. But just listen to the man. He sounds, I don't know, like when people shame this shame association, I think it's so important for us to be like to be able to give them a listen, an objective listen, and not shy away from it because other people have shamed them. But actually, before we go to this doctor, like, what some thoughts so far from you guys? What do you guys think?
I mean, I think for me, the reason why I'm here is in the beginning of it, I was kind of in a place where I didn't want it, but for convenience sake, I was thinking about getting it. And even for the people around me, I was just like, yeah, if you guys get it, go ahead, like to each their own type of thing. But then the more I looked into it, the more I saw important information not being readily available, but having to dig for it, started to concern me. And I think the more that I start to dig, and in light of the Fauci stuff that's coming out now, and we've already known he was a flip-flopper, but to know to this degree, It's just making it all the more clearer that there's something more to it than just getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
You know?
Money. Don't tell me money is it's not about money. It's all about the money. It's all about the money, because just think about it. Who really needs this vaccine is old people, and it's the most dangerous for them, right? That list of the COVID-19 the vaccine. If you go further in there and you go to the vaccine data mortality rate, right? The majority of the deaths from the vaccine, which includes Pfizer, Moderna, and the major ones, right? Johnson & Johnson is obviously a little bit, but out of all the deaths, right, the 4,000 deaths, like 2,373 is men, right? 1,926 is women, female. And out of that, 66 to 80-year-olds, vaccine deaths, 1,445. And then 81 to 100, 1,577. This isn't even safe for elderly, right? So and then as soon as you get down from 66, 1,445, you get down to the age bracket of 51 to 65, it's 671. It drops by half, right? So and then 0 to 24, 25 deaths. So the numbers drop exponentially as you get younger. But the COVID itself, unless you have, unless you're extremely overweight and you're unhealthy and you have, certain health conditions, COVID itself is not that dangerous for young people, children, teenagers. It doesn't affect them. Why are we even talking about vaccinating them? And they're saying we need to get vaccinated to keep others safe. This is all insanity that we've been hearing. Basically, the balls being just tossed, laterally. First, it was about the mask, you're keeping other people safe. You gotta social distance to keep other people safe, and you have to get vaccine to keep other people safe. But the other people got vaccinated too, so it's why do I need to get vaccinated to help the vaccinated person? Right. It's they got vaccinated, so they're safe now, right? Then why do I gotta get it to keep the vaccinated person safe? All this stuff doesn't make any sense. And why are we trying to continue to expand who gets vaccinated? It's they don't need it. And when people say it can't be about the money, right? Of course it's about the money. It's this is a sinful world. This is not heaven. Profit incentive is always going to be something that we need to make sure that for ourselves, when we're looking at people, profit motive, not all profit motive is bad, but we should always question it. To not question it means that we're fools. But there is definitely money involved in this whole thing, for Fauci too, and Bill Gates of hell. I want to hang out with Epstein, even though he got convicted of being a child rapist. Right? Why do we listen to these people? Yeah. Everything I said is factual, yeah? What I just said. Bill Gates hung out with Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted. Yeah, frequently. Yeah. And that's why his wife is divorcing him. Why are we listening to Bill Gates? He's not a doctor. Why are we listening to these people? Why? John? What thoughts you have so far?
No, I think it's just the way it just got so politicized, and the way it's impacting every aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And I think for me it was just this is probably just one of those things that you're gonna have anti-vaxxers and vaxxers, and we'll just get over it, right? This is just something to fill the noise with. Mm-hmm. But what got me kind of annoyed was Krispy Kreme and all these places, McDonald's giving out free stuff if you get vaccinated.
Don't trust corporations ever.
And The funniest thing is like,
And then there's a lottery.
yeah, there's a lottery. Like if you get vaccinated, you can get $50,000 or something.
God.
And
If you can't, so one thing I want to tell people: if you can't sue, don't pursue. Like if you can't sue a company for their product, that means that they're not confident in it either. And right now, you can't sue Moderna, you can't sue Pfizer, you can't sue any of these companies coming out with these vaccines for stuff that we just saw: Bell's palsy, face paralysis, like all of this stuff. You can't sue these people. If your family member dies, you can't sue them. You can't sue the company. Fauci was asked this question. He was sidestepping it like crazy. You can't sue because it's experiment use only. And so you're participating in a trial. So technically you can't sue them for this product. So that should be troubling, and reason why you should be like, dude, I'm not getting that. If I can't sue, in America, if I can't sue a company for what they're selling me, then I'm not going to put it in my body. I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to drink it. I'm not going to inject it unless I could do a lawsuit and sue for damages. That's the American way. But it's accountability. It's equal power, you know? So the politicization of I can't speak right now. Politicization of it is irritating.
Yeah, and I also find it weird. I don't know if we'll talk about it, that in the mainstream is not being talked about nearly enough, is the idea that the lockdowns are and will be far more damaging to people than this virus itself. And I feel like that is still not being talked about. And these people are talking about just let's get the vaccine to get to that normal, or whatever normal they think it is, but the damage has already been done.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, we don't talk about that enough either. The health risks that have increased because of the lockdown. No one's talking about being healthy, right? Because nowadays we can't, there's fat shaming and body shaming and all of that stuff. You can't tell someone to be healthy. Yeah, it's so weird. It's weird, and that's not being talked about nearly enough.
There's an article that came out, I forgot who it was, saying that we already probably have herd immunity, in the populace right now, because so many people got it. And so, why are we vaccinated people that, already got coronavirus? There's people that get coronavirus, I think there was several dozen in the country that potentially got it twice, and legitimately, not because the PCR tests were a piece of crap. I encourage people to do this. Go look at the person that created the PCR test, and this is also guys, you're gonna get flagged. It's gonna be flagged with debunk conspiracy. That's all of this stuff is just debunk conspiracy theory. Continually flag fact check. Don't let that deter you. Look deeper than that, and because those fact checkers are corporations too, right? So they're just it's so dumb. And but look into the founder of the one that invented the PCR test. And in this video that we're not gonna show this part of the video, but he talks about it too, how the PCR tests are supposed to work and how we were using them wrong. But listen to what the inventor of the PCR test says about Dr. Fauci. The PCR test and the way we cycle through the PCR test has changed the coronavirus infection numbers. That's why the infection numbers are no longer high. It's not just that the disease is going away, it's that the PCR test has been adjusted to find corona better, and that plummeted the number of positive cases. So another debunk conspiracy theory right there. But let's look at. I like this man. Let's listen to this. How would you hear this scientist?
Because they are trapped. Okay. They will then enter the cells that they are offered to. these are the blood cells, but the main cells that they will access, now no one ever tells you this because no one has ever looked. The companies that have produced those vaccines have never looked and never published. But I tell you, I thought a lot about this, and I came up with this only answer that a scientist can remember. It's those cells, lining the blood vessels. So, if this is the lining of a blood vessel, okay? The blood is in front here. This cell takes up that gene. Then this cell starts to produce the gene. Now these cells line your blood vessels all over your body, in all organs, okay? That cell is now going to start producing the gene. This virus gene is the spike protein of the virus, the hand, and it will start, you see this, coming out of the cell. At the same time, waste, trash, is produced of this protein that hasn't been used, and that trash that is produced during the production, the cell places in front of its door. So you have the spike and the waste. Now, this spike itself has a wonderful property, a property that is wonderful for science, but not wonderful for you, because it has the propensity, it has the ability to, now what is coming is a platelet. These platelets are those little cells that start blood clotting going. The moment it touches, this platelet gets activated and starts wanting to start the blood clotting. Regrettably, there's another type of cell that comes around to see the trash. And this cell is the killer lymphocyte. And your killer lymphocytes are trained to see trash of viruses, because then they will come and try to kill the cell that is daring to produce the virus, which is the cell that lines your wall, the tapestry of your wall, blood vessels. This can happen anywhere, but because in medicine you learn about these things. Blood flows at different speeds. Blood flows very slowly in your veins, okay? Blood flows slowly in the vessels, the capillaries, because, for instance, in the lung, you have to have this gas exchange, okay? Ah, gosh. It's actually so logical. Where do you think most of the virus packages are going to be taken up? I don't know. And the pharmaceutical industry doesn't know because it never looked. It never looked. But they should have looked. Damn it. They should have looked. Because maybe now you, humans, are being part of the largest experiment ever performed in the history of mankind. Scientific experiment. We are going to find out which of your cells lining your blood vessels are taking up these packages and producing them so that they are going to be attacked by your own immune system and destroyed. And that is what's going to send the blood clotting. It's got to clot. There's no other way. Now, listen very carefully. What are the major symptoms that young people and also elder people have shown to have had after receiving maybe this first and even more after the second shot of these vaccines? Question mark? What is your answer? Headache, right? Nausea, vomiting, dizziness, loss of consciousness, nerve paralysis, the face, arms, legs, loss of motor control, these jerking movements. And when I heard all of this, I was asking myself, and of course pain in the muscle, right? What could be the common denominator. And the answer that came to me, and this was back in January, and I talked about it at that time, and we wrote it, and we published this in February, was that we believed, when I say we, it's my wife, Karina, and I, and we also put this in our new book, which is going to appear in 2 weeks, but in German, that we predicted that there were going to be very severe thrombotic events. Very severe, because especially this headache, splitting headache, loss of consciousness, nausea, vomiting, is the typical sign that the blood is clotting in the veins of your brain. Very, very rare. The incidence of cerebral venous thrombosis is 1 to 1 million per year. So there are going to be 300 cases, oh, don't mind the phone, please, in America a year. Now, you may have realized that cerebral venous thrombosis has now been diagnosed in those victims, and that the EMA, this funny organization, said, well, this is unfortunate, but the benefit of this vaccination far outweighs the risks. I couldn't imagine this. And now the FDA, you guys in America are saying the same thing. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. Because for every one person who has died because of a thrombosis in the brain veins, 100 have suffered, and 100 might also have died. Every clot formation is potentially lethal. You know, you have blood clots forming in your leg veins, and if they get released, they become pulmonary embolisms that also will kill you. Why don't people think about this? And you know that when a lot of clotting goes on, these clotting factors get used up. Like when you use all your money, you have no more money. If you use all your clotting factors, you can't clot anymore. And these people can bleed. Have you ever seen people with these skin bleedings? Or have you ever heard of people who have had massive bleeding in the brain that caused death? Might not all of this have been, the result of massive blood clotting? And we're trying so hard to make you realize, also you guys who are telling us that this vaccine is so important and saving lives, don't continue this. Remember that you may be the next to go. And it's not only you, it's your family, your loved ones, your children. And when I'm saying this, I'm not taking any parts. We're completely neutral. We are scientists, not left, not right, not up, not down. We just are trying to serve you and your children. Actually, I have to say, I don't care if Merkel takes this. I don't care if Biden takes it. But I do care if the children of my neighbors are going to be forced to take this, or my neighbors themselves.
Yeah, Dr. Bhakti, that is sobering beyond words, what words can explain. It's absolutely terrifying. In your view, once somebody has taken this shot, is it possible to reverse or mitigate? Is there any mechanism you know of that can try to reverse this process, try to prevent this?
No, listen, let me make myself very clear if I have the time to.
Yeah, please.
The intensity of the reaction of the damage that is being done will be dependent on your lymphocytes, your killer lymphocytes, your immune system. Someone with a very strong immune system, trained in combat to see the waste products of coronaviruses, are going to be more aggressive. So strangely enough, it's the younger people who have been exposed and are exposed to the normal coronaviruses that are probably going to get the more severe symptoms. Whereas the elderly who has been at home, whose immune system has become pacified over the years, will get relatively less. However, in an elderly patient with pre-existing illness, the slightest next insult may be the last straw that breaks the camel's back. With young people, of course, they will be able to go back to work after 3 days or 4 days of sitting in bed or going to the hospital. However, I warn you. You know, as I said, the intensity of the reaction will predictably be dependent on the aggressiveness of the immune system. If you go and start putting this spike on the walls of your vessels, and this spike gets into your immune system, and you say, come on, fight me, the lymphocytes are going to be trained in battle. It's like a sparring bout, boxing. And these lymphocytes are then going to expand, clonal expansion. They're going to go back to bed in the lymph node and wait. If now the real virus comes by and infects the lungs, those killer lymphocytes are going to come out, and they're going to get really overexcited about all of this. And what you're going to get is immune enhancement of disease. Immune enhancement of disease meaning that you're going to do much worse than if you had not had these sparring bouts, including the production of antibodies, okay? Second, and probably even worse, if you are foolish enough to let yourself get vaccinated in the fall, when all these companies are saying, now we have to get vaccinated against the next variant, something that is so stupid that I cannot believe the Americans will accept. But unfortunately, I'm not sure. Don't believe this lie, guys. Don't believe it, for God's sake. And for God's sake, inform yourself before you let yourself and your beloved ones be vaccinated. Because if you have been vaccinated once, those lymphocytes, if this happens again, are going to be even more active. So that's why the second vaccination has always turned out to be worse than the first. It's the booster, right? And guys, don't get a third or fourth or fifth, because if you do that, you are going to contribute to the decimation of the world's population.
Dr. Bhakti, where do we go from here? Now we've got hundreds of millions of people around the world who've taken these vaccines. We've got the totalitarianism is now they're trying to lock it into place forever. What do we do? What does a normal person do? What does an elected official do in the face of what we're dealing with?
We are trying to get the world to stand up and say no. You know, we are more than they are. Numerically, they can't install something that is killing people forever. If they do, we have to get them to the tribunal somewhere.
Yeah.
Although I've been told that the tribunal has also been bought. So it is a real problem, guys. It's a real problem. And the only way is that everyone, every thinking person, Homo sapiens, and all of you are, and you all are educated and intelligent enough to stand up and say, the limit has been trespassed, and we have to do something to protect ourselves and the generations to come. If you don't do this, you are heading for living hell, and you are taking your children to the living hell. And that's why, but now many, many thousands, tens of thousands of people are networking around the globe, and we're really trying to stop it. This health passports or whatever you call them. The UK is going to pass this law in 2 weeks, and we're having a meeting tonight around the globe to see what we can do about it. The trouble is, you see, that the political agenda is worldwide. So all these governments have agreed to do this together. It's no secret anymore. I mean, everyone knows this. And if you don't know it, you better inform yourself, because otherwise, you're in for it. And since they did it before us, the big hope that we have is that we're more. There are more of us. There are billions of us.
Dr. Bhakti, I think this is probably the most terrifying interview I've done in my life, and I've done a lot that have been very alarming. I want to ask you, you mentioned your book is coming out in German in 2 weeks. Is that going to be translated into English? Where can people find it? And then do you have any final words of wisdom or anything comforting at all that you can say to people whose families have been vaccinated, parents and grandparents? I mean, do you have any good news to share with us before we let you go?
Well, let me say, you see, I talked about the terrifying side effects, and I can tell you that the really serious adverse effects are seen in only about 1%, 1 to 2%. So if you belong to those 98 to 99% that have escaped being taken this time, be happy. And I'm happy for you, okay? But don't take it another time. If you want trouble, you get trouble. Don't do it. And stand up and stop the others from doing it.
Yeah, that's
Very good. And Dr. Bach?
I encourage you guys to watch this guy. He has a good book out, and I like him. I like his accent. He sounds like C-3PO, and but then a lot more heartwarming.
Yeah.
But dude, there are doctors on calls, scientists having panels online, and they are all censored. All of them are nutjob conspiracy theorists. And the problem is, people are like, then why would a pharmaceutical company, why would they lie, right? Money, dude. And like, people are like, why? I don't believe that could happen. It's like, they do it all the time. Like, the sugar company lied for 50 years that fat kills, sugar doesn't affect the body at all. But look at all the obese, and diabetic people in this country, right? The sugar lobby paid scientists to falsify and create false studies to lie to the American people for decades. Not like a year or two, for decades. Why? It's money. And so, it's not just right-wing nutjobs that are saying this, talking about this, but lefties are talking about it. Bill Maher, who I hate, is talking about it. Russell Brand is talking about it. There are people talking about this. And I encourage you guys to just listen to some of these panels. It's just crazy, the possibilities of what can happen, and what is happening in Europe right now with the new variants is that it's what this doctor is saying is happening. And so the French doctor Luc Montagnier had another comment. He's immediately, obviously, this new thing he just said has been dismissed, debunked, and all of that. We should just have a word that describes all of those things. Plunked. But he's the one that predicted the coronavirus being made in a lab right from the beginning. He's saying new stuff now, and people are already on him, right? But he was right from the beginning, and so I'm listening to him still, and what he has to say. And but what he said that really was shocking to me was, if people get a booster in the fall, that'll probably make that the vaccine will probably make them sick, right? And so it might cause their body to overreact to a new variant and actually attack the body, our own bodies. And so I think that's at this point a theory that he has, which we're yet to see. But as far as the adverse reactions go, they seem to get worse the more you get them. And so he's saying don't risk it and get a third and fourth booster shot. And but what did you find about the boosters or like the vaccines?
Pfizer.
Pfizer?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
They want to put out more booster shots because it's a significant opportunity for its vaccine from a pricing perspective as we move from a pandemic situation to an endemic situation. Yeah, so that was the CFO and executive VP of Global Supply of Pfizer. He said that.
So I hope this gets you guys searching. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just trying to get people to search, listen to the doctor scientist panels. Get away from the same shame association. Get diversify your sources. Don't just listen to these corp news scientist doctor organizations because they get paid off, right? And so I want to listen to other people. And your doctor might say it's completely safe, and I would change doctors. But a lot of times medicine these days too, like they're getting, they have a system that that they trust. But what if the system is not being trustworthy? And that's what some of these other doctors are doing, nurses are doing. They're speaking out and disagreeing. Scientists also are disagreeing, and we need to listen to them. So what do you guys think about this? What this guy just said? And then we close with that.
The doctor we just saw.
Yeah.
While you were talking, I looked up all the news articles that are saying he's crazy.
Yeah, he's nuts.
I think he explained it very well on his understanding of how the spike protein causes blood clotting. Just it just naturally makes sense.
And that's what we just saw.
Yeah.
The
him explaining that
the side effects that are being reported.
Yeah, and his explanation of why people feel such an adverse reaction after the second shot.
Yeah,
because that's what I think from everybody that I know that gotten vaccinated. The second shot was
It's always the worst.
Was the worst one.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I feel like what he said is accurate to the data. Yeah, we showed and the testimonies that we listened to before he taught.
So it's just because one of the good things that he said was like gladly only 1 to 2% of the people that do this get it, and he's happy for them, but just suggesting us don't get the third or fourth.
Yeah, it just keeps increasing the chance something bad is gonna happen to you.
Yeah,
I agree with him. I agree, and our church people, there's a lot of people that got it, and like, I don't give medical advice. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but frick, dude, like, I'm hearing this other side. It's not just him; it's a whole bunch of other people. And if you're looking for it, you'll find it. And I think you need to really take a listen and consider. And but the truth that we have in this video is that people are dying. There is a small percentage of people, but they are dying from getting vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine. Right? Isn't there some crazy number of like vaccine deaths have like doubled this year compared to other years?
Not too sure.
I'll have to look that up if you find something. Dan, anything? Any thoughts?
No, just don't get the shot.
Any closing thoughts before I close?
Oh. And it's crazy they guessed it. We knew that they were gonna go for a third.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be unlimited, just 10.
Yeah, endemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the fall they're gonna try to jab people again, and then, and they're already prepping us with all the talks of variants from India and all this stuff, and like
And they'll blame people that didn't want to get vaccinated as the reason why it mutated. And
that's a high possibility. I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. These a-holes. What I do want to say is, to close is, them trying to mandate this for work or whatever is illegal. It's still experimental. FDA has not fully approved. I think Pfizer's applying for full approval from the FDA, but it has not happened, and so it's illegal for them to require it at colleges or schools or any place. And I just heard of a church that's going to possibly require vaccination for in-person service. This is insane, and that's crazy to me. And I don't know what they're thinking, but this is how much like I feel like the choking of information is having such a, information adverse effect. Like, I'm against misinformation just like everyone else, but when scientists are disagreeing with each other, we need to have them like box it out, and not, not have the ref come in and call the fight
and DQ
and DQ at their whim
for yelling back.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fully locked armbar, bro. Fully locked armbar, and the ref comes in and gives it to the other guy. See, that could happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so get Facebook's and social media, Google. These people need to stop reffing, and just let them talk, let them fight each other, let their data come out, and people are just listening to them argue with each other, and we find out, and then decide from that. As thinking, what I like about him too, he gives respect to everyone that's listening to him, and he says, "You guys are thinking, human beings. You guys think for yourselves and decide what to do." Instead of saying, "We're smarter than you. You're stupid idiots, and do what we say because we know better than you." There's that tone, and then there's this dude's tone, and he's saying, "You guys are smart, educated, thinking people. You guys do your own research and then think for yourselves and decide for yourself what you're going to do about this." I respect that. He does that because I believe that, but sometimes I listen to people, I'm thinking, man, you're pretty stupid. But I like how he gives honor and respect to everybody. And I take away from that, learning that. And I should probably be more like that too. But there's that tone, and then there's the other tone. And that other tone is dangerous. Like, we know better than you. You guys are too dumb to think for yourself. Do what we say. Enter the lottery. Get jabbed and win several for a chance to win all this money. Oh my God. And here's the kicker, guys. If something bad happens to you from this vaccination, you can't sue for damages. You can't sue for damage. In that video of those people have zero options. That's why they're so distraught. And even if they had options, they're stuck like that. It's very rare for someone to end up in a wheelchair, but that does happen as well. And then if you're dead, it doesn't matter. So. And then they're saying it's very rare for teenagers to get heart conditions from getting this vaccination. Teenagers don't need this vaccination. They don't need it.
It's really funny. I'm looking at their sources, and it's all themselves, other news articles that have no scientific background.
Yeah, and no, this don't fact check, crap check.
It's just
He's sound. I there's other videos that corroborate what he's saying. Other scientists backing him up, but we don't have time. So I want people to. We're just giving you guys stuff to
look up on your own.
Yeah, chew. Go chew. And if you got the vaccine, don't be ashamed. Don't be mad at me. But don't be ashamed. Just don't get the next one and pray. Please pray. I want to lay hands and pray freely for you. So I got vaccinated. I think I made a mistake. I would love to pray for you. Okay, and miscarriages, infertility, possible infertility, even that's been debunked. Conspiracy, right wing nut job. Like, it's all we don't know yet. We need time. Okay, but I want to pray for anyone. Actually, I want to end this video with prayer. Actually, so Father, I pray that you would give us an immunity to fear. From fear, I pray that nobody would be afraid. But God, whatever we've put into our bodies, I pray that they will be healed and strengthened and restored. And I pray that, Lord, we wait on you, be patient, and do all our study, and not let the world pressure us to get ourselves into things that it is not for. It's not in our best interest. So God, give us a spirit of discernment, and help us to be patient, to study, and to find ourselves approved. Not just in the scriptures, but in the matters that are happening in our world. And I pray for pastors that are thinking about mandating the vaccines for in-person service. I pray that their spirit of discernment will fall upon them, and they will turn back from this foolish, horrible decision. And I pray, give us wisdom in these days. Help us to be patient and not respond to peer pressure and shame association. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, go happy hunting, all right?
Good night.
Stay safe.